Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
There was no way for Queenie to avoid the kiss. Therefore, she allowed herself to enjoy the spellbinding kiss as the last rays of sunlight slowly faded out of the dimming room. Love overwhelmed the senses. Her heart thumped wildly. A feast was laid out for dinner at Manson residence. Jonathan and Brenda showered Queenie with affection as they welcomed her with open arms, and even the household staff all knew that the young guest they had today was Nigel's soon-to-be wife. Once it was time to leave, Brenda saw them off and a maid came over with a gift box in hand. "Queenie, it's your first time here and I didn't get to prepare much, but I would like you to have this." Queenie was startled by Brenda's generosity. She could tell that it was a set of jewelry, so she quickly tried to decline. "This is too much, Mrs. Manson. I can't accept it. It's not much at all. We're going to be family soon." Brenda's words were full of implications. Queenie stared at her in a daze for a few seconds before blushing shyly, but she didn't continue turning Brenda down. "Thank you, Mrs. Manson." Nigel drove them back to his place. Once they were home, Queenie opened the box, and sure enough, she saw a set of gorgeous jewelry that looked very expensive inside. "It suits you," Nigel complimented with a smile. His mother had good taste. However, Queenie was even more touched by Brenda's words earlier. It meant that Brenda approved of her. "Let's arrange for our parents to meet once your parents come back from their trip." Nigel couldn't wait to marry Queenie. Queenie nodded and snuggled close to him as she shared her innermost thoughts. "Nigel, I want to find my younger sister, no matter what it takes. I hope she can come back." "All right. I'll help you. I'll use everything at my disposal to help you," Nigel promised as he stroked her hair. "I thought of a good way to find her. I'll go on the news and use my face to look for her. Anyone who looks like me and is the same age as me can contact me." Why didn't I think of this sooner? Queenie asked herself. Previously, her parents used photos of her sister when she was young to look for her, but after the whole debacle with Nina, Queenie realized that the method she thought of was the best one. She also decided to visit Nina at the detention center tomorrow to clarify her suspicions. Would Lisbeth have anything to do with my sister's disappearance back then? Would Nina know anything about my sister after working with Lisbeth for a year? At the detention center, Nina kept rolling around on the hard floor. She had only been in here for 2 days, but she was already on the verge of a breakdown. Her body was aching all over as she had slept on nothing but the finest mattresses for an entire year. Tears of regret streamed down her cheeks, but it was too late for regrets. After all the interrogation she had gone through, she found out how much she had cheated out of the Silversteins. Every single figure terrified her. She never would have imagined that she spent over $1 million on just clothes and bags alone. She recalled what it had been like when she first arrived at the house. Brandon and Maggie spared no expense as they tried to give her everything they could. Because of that, she took leave of her senses and began to spend lavishly to fulfill all of her worldly desires. She didn't hold back at all. After staying in the same house with the Silversteins, all sorts of thoughts began to form in her mind. She couldn't stand seeing Queenie, who grew up in a loving home. She thought that since she had gained the Silverstein couple's favor, she could toy with Queenie for amusement. As it was, that gave her a different kind of satisfaction that was even more rewarding. She started stealing everything that belonged to Queenie, including her fiancé, and she felt an immense feeling of accomplishment when she saw the way Queenie had to suffer through all sorts of grievances but was still too afraid to expose her. However, at the time, Nina never thought that she would one day fly too close to the sun and have everything come crashing down on her. At last, she understood what Lisbeth had been telling her all along. Lisbeth told her to just be satisfied with being the Silverstein's daughter and live out a life of luxury. Lisbeth disapproved of the way Nina kept trying to hurt Queenie, as she probably didn't want to hurt the Silversteins. If there was such a thing as a time machine, Nina would leap at the chance to turn back time and return to the moment a year ago when she first arrived at the Silverstein residence. She would be satisfied being the Silversteins' youngest daughter, taking the allowance they gave her, and basking in their love. She would get along with Queenie and use her status as the Silversteins' daughter to marry a wealthy husband. Her life would have been perfect. Nina opened her eyes. Tears of regret continued to flow. With every breath she took, she could smell the stench of mold in the air. The longer she stayed in this tiny holding cell dressed in prison garb, the more she was on the verge of losing her mind. She couldn't even imagine what her life was going to be like from now on. How am I supposed to live like that? What's the point of living? In the morning, Nina was woken up by the sound of someone banging on her door. "Someone's here to see you," the police officer said. Nina immediately climbed to her feet. Her bloodshot eyes, disheveled hair, and post-surgery face without any makeup on made her look like a ghost. "Who is it? Who's here to see me?" she asked at once. "Go and see for yourself." Nina didn't want anyone to see her in this state, not even her parents. However, she did hope that Brandon and Maggie would come and see her. Maybe they'll take pity on me once they see how pitiful I am and appeal for more lenient sentencing. Are they here? Nina rushed to the visiting room, but when she saw the young woman sitting on the opposite side of the divider, she was overcome with shame and was tempted to head right back to her cell instead. Queenie had come. Nina was certain that Queenie was here to mock her and would say the worst things possible to insult her. "Why are you here?" In the end, Nina sat down. She wanted to hear what Queenie had to say. Queenie fixed her cold, piercing eyes upon Nina. "I have a question to ask you. Have you ever heard Lisbeth mentioning my sister?" "Why do you ask? Are you still looking for her?" "She might have died a long time ago," Nina scoffed. "Has Lisbeth never said anything to you before? If you're willing to tell me what you know, I'll go easier on you." Queenie was serious. Lisbeth had used her sister for her schemes. Does it mean that she might have something to do with my sister's disappearance? Queenie was certain that Lisbeth wouldn't confess to that, but perhaps Lisbeth might have told Nina some things while they were in cahoots together. Nina's eyes lit up. "Really? First, tell me what Lisbeth told you." Queenie's only goal right now was to find her real sister and ease her parents' pain over the loss of their daughter. Otherwise, she knew that her mother would be even more devastated after this whole ordeal. Nina started searching her memory. Lisbeth had told her a lot about the Silversteins' second daughter. Afraid that others might see through the ruse, Lisbeth had filled Nina in on a lot of details, including what that girl had been wearing when she went missing, how her hair was tied, and even where she had gone missing. "She did it. She's the one who kidnapped your sister." "Queenie, I'll tell you even more information if you promise that you'll make sure I get a lighter sentence." Nina decided to trick Queenie so that she could use Queenie's urge to find her sister to get a lighter punishment. "Really? Did she tell you that?" Queenie asked with a frown. "Yes, she told me herself." "Queenie, please put in a good word for me with the judge." Nina was willing to say all sorts of things to achieve her goal. However, Queenie simply eyed her coldly. "All right. Tell me everything you know first, and then I'll consider putting in a good word for you." "Why, you..." Nina clenched her jaw. Queenie had been tricked many times throughout the past year. She knew all of Nina's tells and knew that she was lying. "What are you trying to do, huh? Are you trying to fool me? Well, I hope you'll never be able to find your sister." Nina revealed her true colors once more. Queenie got up to leave, causing Nina to start panicking. She hastily grabbed the bars between them and began to plead. "Queenie, I'm begging you and your family. Please let me off. I know I made a mistake. Please just let me go, okay? I shouldn't have pretended to be your sister. I'm a horrible person. I deserve to die. Please, I'm begging you. Please, Queenie. Nina's shrieks grew even more hoarse and despairing with every second. Despite that, all Nina received was the sight of Queenie walking away, a walk of someone who had her freedom and a bright future ahead of her. As Nina watched Queenie, she realized that she never felt more jealous than she did now. Freedom was something that Nina would no longer have. She could see the beautiful cityscape just beyond the entrance, and even this was a luxury for her now. Nina didn't want to leave, but the police officer dragged her back to her cell. After walking out of the detention center, Queenie received a call from Nigel. He had made the arrangements with a prominent media outlet and they were going to give Queenie a segment in their program. When the time came, they were going to broadcast her search for her sister across all their channels. Queenie didn't discuss this with her parents as she didn't want to disrupt them during their trip. However, she was determined to do this now, and she was even more confident it would work since she had Nigel's help. If my sister's still alive, she'll definitely come across my search for her. Queenie left the detention center and drove to the media company. At a well-known filming location. On the plateau of a mountain, a film crew was hard at work under the blazing sun. They were filming a historical drama and the burning sun at summer's noon was setting everyone's tempers alight as well. A loud voice roared across the open space, "Where's the stunt double? Is she in place yet? Where's she? Hurry up and take your place." Just then, a slender young woman wearing heavy layers of historical costume ran out from a nearby tent. "I'm here. I'm here. Hurry up. What's taking you so long? Everyone else is ready. We're all waiting on you." One of the grips was scowling. It was true that they had only just finished setting up the scene, but how dare the leading lady stunt double loaf around? "Yes, I'm coming." The young woman in a veiled hat was running across the slope dressed up in the main female character's attire. At the same time, the actress playing the main role was standing under an umbrella nearby and sneering at the young woman with an obvious look of derision in her eyes. How dare they show me so little respect? Why did they choose a stunt double that's even prettier than me? Are they trying to insult my appearance? The young woman looked captivating as she ran across the field dressed up as the leading lady. "Are you sure she'll do a good job? I'm known for my fairy-like presence, and this character is supposed to be beautiful too. She better not ruin the scene," Mabel Cotton, the actress, grumbled. "Yes, of course. Don't worry, Miss Cotton. That stunt double's been in this line of work for 5 or 6 years now. She does a great job no matter what the role requires. She can help you do all kinds of stunts, regardless of how dangerous it is." "Where did you find her?" Mabel asked as she secretly rolled her eyes. "She's a professional stunt double that's signed exclusively to our parent company and she has a lot of experience." "In that case, let's just see what she can do with the character," Mabel huffed with greater annoyance. Meanwhile, the young woman who was just hooked up to the stunt wire took a deep breath as she calmly allowed the wire to carry her up above the trees. She could enjoy the breathtaking view in front of her as she hovered up in the air. This was why she loved being a stunt double. It's hard to find a view quite like this elsewhere. "Are you ready?" the assistant director called out to her. She held out an OK sign with her hand, and as soon as the director called out action, she leaped in the air and twirled around beautifully twice before soaring down with her sword. Her costume fluttered in the breeze. "Excellent. You did a fine job. Let's go again," the director called out. Soon, the crew started shooting the young woman's scene again. Mabel came over and watched the shooting herself. Although the young woman was only her stunt double and she would be the one on screen once the drama was broadcasted, she still felt disgruntled. She went over to the director and gave a few suggestions. As she had joined the project with the support of some of the drama's backers, the director was willing to listen to her. Therefore, thanks to Mabel's suggestions, the young woman who was supposed to get off the stunt wire by now had to spend another 10 minutes dangling in the air. She even had to do an incredibly difficult flip mid-air before she was allowed to come back down. By the time she could take off the harness, the young woman's legs had turned into jelly and she was so dizzy that she had to hold on to one of the film crew members to keep herself steady. "Jessie. Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I'm just a little dizzy. You should take a break now." Her name was Jessie Landry. She was a 23-year-old woman who worked as a stunt double. Although she was a little young, she had been in this line of work for many years now and was one of the more experienced stunt doubles in the industry. All of the roles where Jessie had been the stunt double received widespread acclaim from fans. They all said that even her silhouette was ethereal and goddess-like. Many of the actresses who played the lead role would specifically ask for her to be their stunt double as well. Jessie took the bottle of water that the crew member held out to her and ducked under the shade to drink it. The weight of the heavy, veiled hat and many layers of costume made her exhausted. Just then, an assistant came over and said to her, "Jessie, that's Miss Mabel's costume. You better be careful, or you'll have to pay for ruining it." Jessie quickly lifted the hefty skirt and carried it in her arms before nodding. "Don't worry. I'll be careful." Seeing how easy it was to bully Jessie, the assistant added, "If Miss Mabel isn't pleased with the result, you'll have to shoot the scene again." Jessie nodded. "Yes, I got it." The film crew's catering for their tea break arrived, and a plump young woman snatched 2 portions before running over to Jessie. "Here, Jessie. I got one for you." Jessie was starving by now. She was requested to start filming before she even finished her lunch, so she was pleased to have a snack to tide her over. Although it was only a slice of cake and a carton of milk, it was still enough to keep her stomach sated. "Jessie, did you hear the news? The award-winning actor, Julian Gilmore, is filming somewhere near here." "Oh, gosh. I'm so excited. I have a feeling I'll get to meet him." Jessie's eyes lit up as well. "Really? Are you sure? I heard Mabel and her staff talking about it. She's even more excited than we are, and I'm pretty sure her sources are reliable." The plump young woman was Lexi Lopez, who did odd jobs for the film crew and was good friends with Jessie. Jessie was the only one on set who didn't bully Lexi. In fact, Jessie often took care of Lexi, which was why Lexi would help Jessie out whenever she could. "Jessie, you've been the stunt double for the female leads so many times now. Why haven't you joined a filming project with Julian Gilmore? You might even get to act out scenes with him," Lexi remarked. Jessie smiled. "I wish I could too, but it's not that easy to join a project with an award-winning actor like him. Projects that hire him probably wouldn't be interested in an average stunt double like me. I heard that he's filming a historical drama too. Oh my. I'll get the chance to see him in a dashing, valiant role again. I've been looking forward to it for so long now," Lexi exclaimed with a look of infatuation. There were a few more scenes that required the stunt wire later that afternoon. Once everything was over, Jessie went back to a tent alone and rolled up her white t-shirt. She took out the ointment she prepared and skillfully rubbed it onto her skin. There were faint splotches of bruising along her waist that were a result of wearing the stunt wire. Jessie dozed off during the ride back to the hotel. The van had arrived back at the hotel by the time she opened her eyes again. It was a 3-star hotel, and she shared a room with Lexi. After dinner, Lexi grabbed Jessie enthusiastically. "Jessie, Julian Gilmore's car is here. Hurry up. It's just outside the 5-star hotel opposite us. Maybe we'll get to see him." His fans would have already formed a human barricade around him by now. What makes you think we can squeeze past them? All Jessie wanted to do was rest. Well, we might get lucky. Come on. Come with me. Please, my dearest Jessie. Lexi tried to coax Jessie into coming with her. She didn't think it would be as fun if she went alone. Jessie couldn't put up a fight against Lexi, so she had no choice but to drag her weary body out the door. The two women crossed the road to head to the hotel opposite them. Along the way, they saw hordes of screaming fans rushing over as they cried, "Julian Gilmore. My love." After being in the industry for so long, Jessie knew very well just how frenzied fans could get. Julian had won the award for Best Actor for 4 years in a row now. He was the most renowned male celebrity by far, and thus, his fans were even more passionate than others. Look at the crowd, Lexi. We won't get to see him. Jessie would much rather go back to the room to sleep, but as a huge fan of Julian, Lexi was not going to give up the opportunity to see her celebrity crush so easily. Just one look is good enough. Lexi might be chubby, but she could run, especially when she could meet her idol. Jessie had no choice but to get dragged along with her friend. Just then, 3 black off-road vehicles showed up around the corner. One look and they knew someone important must be in these cars. An excited Lexi gasped. "Whoa, that's Julian's car." Jessie stared at the cars, but their tinted windows stopped them from seeing who was inside. Lexi dragged Jessie forward once more. She might be in a hurry to see her idol, but she wouldn't leave her friend behind. And just like that, Jessie found herself jostling among a horde of raving fans. Their shouts were deafening. Lexi managed to squeeze herself forward, but just when she was about to get in the lead, some of the female fans shouted at her. "Hey, stop pushing me," a girl roared. "I didn't push you." Lexi turned around and snorted. "This is our spot. You can't take it." Sorry, Jessie apologized. But Lexi couldn't care less. This was the best spot to meet Julian, and she would never back off. Thanks to her size, she managed to secure the best place and even pushed her friend forward. Jessie felt embarrassed, but then the fans started roaring once more. The man of their dreams had made his appearance. He was in a black shirt and a pair of black pants, and his face was covered with a mask. Even though they could only see his eyes, the fans knew it was Julian. "Oh my God, he's hot!" The fans' screams almost blew the roof off. Julian looked at his fans and waved at them. Just as he was about to head into the hotel, a commotion broke out. Lexi was tussling with 3 girls, and it caused a little scene. Jessie had her back turned to Lexi. During the tussle, Lexi's butt bumped into Jessie, and the momentum sent Jessie staggering forward. She let out a gasp and fell uncontrollably toward Julian. Not even the bodyguards could stop her in time. Julian found himself crashing into a girl. She quickly wrapped her arms around him and buried her face in his chest. Silence fell over the crowd for a moment, but the fans quickly snapped out of it and cursed Jessie. How dare she hold our idol? That's an insult to him. She sullied him. Lexi covered her mouth in shock. Whoa. I did this? Did I push my friend into Julian's embrace? God, I want to hold Julian so much. Jessie was shocked as well. Her face was buried in his shirt, and all she could smell was the scent of Julian. She actually took a deep breath, but then someone said coldly, "Take her away." Julian spoke to his bodyguards, and they held her shoulder, pulling her off of Julian. She felt something wrapping itself around her hand. Feels like a chain. The moment she was pulled away, Lexi dragged her back into the crowd. Jessie stared down and saw a necklace hanging from her wrist, much to her surprise. Is this his? Hey, Julian. A second, she shouted after him. But Julian was already gone from everyone's sights. Only his bodyguards remained. Oh my God. You just hugged him. What does he smell like? Lexi happily pulled her friend away from the crowd. The raving fans were leaving the spot as well. Jessie took Lexi to a quiet spot and held up the necklace. I got this from him by accident. I have no idea what to do with it. Whoa. How did you do that? I have no idea. I don't want him to think I stole it, though. I didn't mean it. She looked at the clasp and was surprised to see that it was loose. No wonder he felt nothing when I pulled it off him. All right, calm down. We'll just wait for him to come to us. Maybe we'll get to meet him up close and personal, Lexi gushed. Jessie heaved a sigh. She was in a dilemma. Not once did she ever steal in her life, but now she had a necklace that belonged to someone else in her hands. Julian had just come back to his room. Working non-stop for days had taken a toll on him. He decided to take a shower and get some sleep. Julian took his shirt off, revealing a perfectly sculpted body. He looked fine no matter what kind of shirt he wore. The guy had a perfect body. But Mr. Greek God Body felt something was missing. He touched his neck and realized his prized necklace was gone. His mother gave it to him before she died, and that was a priceless piece of treasure to him. And now it's gone? He was reminded of the fan who hugged him earlier. Could it be her? Fury filled his eyes, and he quickly called his assistant. I lost my necklace. Check the fan who hugged me just now. The one your mother gave you? Yes. Julian seldom got angry, but now he was livid. That fan stole his necklace. It was a breach of privacy, and moreover, that was his mother's gift. He would never let anyone touch it. Back in her hotel, Jessie found herself in a dilemma. How should I give this back to him? Should I really wait until he calls the cops on me? That's embarrassing. I should just give this back to him. I didn't mean to take it. It was just a reflex when the bodyguards were pulling me. What am I supposed to do? She closed her eyes. I need this job. The orphanage needs my money. The resources they get aren't enough to support them. Madame Yancey's not getting any younger. I can't lose this job. I'm making the most money out of the guys in my batch. They're proud of me, and I can't let them down. She blinked and decided to do something risky. I'm going to wait for him at the hotel tomorrow morning and give it back to him as well as apologize. It was a sleepless night for Jessie. She woke up at 6:30 in the morning and left with nothing but a backpack. Wiley Hotel was the best 5-star hotel in town. A lot of actors would stay here during work. Jessie just wanted to try her luck and see if Julian would come out early. Not long after she got to the place, she noticed a few fans staking the hotel out. Man, I am impressed. I'd rather sleep than meet the guy, but this is something I have to do. Right after Jessie picked a spot to stand, someone mocked, "Hey, that's the idiot who hugged Julian last night." Yeah. What a slut. She needs to look in the mirror. I can't believe she tainted Julian. She thinks Julian's going to fall for her because she's pretty. Yeah, right. She's ugly as. Dream on. The fans kept staring at Jessie. Even though they called her ugly, they still were jealous of her looks. Damn it. Didn't see it last night, but this girl's hotter than some celebs. It stoked their flames of envy, and they only felt enmity toward Jessie. All the mockery was getting on Jessie's nerves. She turned around to face the stupid fans and explained, "This is a misunderstanding. I didn't mean to do that. Keep saying that. I bet you think you're really pretty." I don't. A frown creased Jessie's forehead. Julian doesn't care. He's just going to think you're disgusting even if you want to sleep with him. Hey, can you stop with the insults? Do you guys lose all your intelligence when you keep up with your idol's life? Jessie started arguing. Hey, you hugged him first, and you expect us not to fight you? What the hell? And why do you have to fight me? Just keep up with your favorite idol and leave me alone. God, they're infuriating. No. You touch him, you. Oh my God, he's here. The fans noticed Julian coming out. Even though he had bodyguards around him, they still saw him. Everyone stopped arguing with Jessie and tried to get the best spot to see their idol. Jessie was excited as well, but for a different reason. She whipped out the necklace and held it tight in her hand, and then she approached him. It's still early and there aren't many fans around. I can get close. You're so hot, Julian. Take care of yourself. Don't overwork. Good luck at work today, Julian. The girls who argued with Jessie earlier started fangirling over their idol. They kept smiling at Julian. But then someone approached Julian once more, much to their chagrin. This woman again? How many times does she have to do this? Jessie was running too fast. She didn't see the step and tripped over it, causing her to fall forward. She held someone's leg out of instinct as she screamed, and then she bumped into his crotch. The fans almost screamed in horror. This idiot did something even worse today. She sullied the one place she shouldn't. Die, you creep. Die. The fans wanted nothing but blood. Once again, the bodyguard failed at his job, and he complained silently. I can't believe someone would go that far. Jessie's ears were buzzing from the crash. When she snapped out of it, she noticed that she had just crashed into Julian's crotch. She quickly knelt on one knee and showed him the necklace. Her face was red, and she stammered loudly, "This is your necklace. I pulled it off by accident last night. Here, take it back." Julian was annoyed by her behavior as well. That hurt. But when he saw the necklace in her hand, he froze for a few moments. Eventually, he picked it up in disgust and told the bodyguard, "What are you waiting for?" The bodyguards wouldn't let this fan hurt their employer again. They held her up by the arms and dragged her away. I'm sorry, Julian. I didn't mean it, but the clasp was loose. You'd better get that fixed. Julian didn't take a good look at her the night before, but now he turned around. She was annoying, but he still thought he should see who she was because of what she said. Jessie was staring at him as well. Her heart fluttered the moment their eyes met. His eyes are beautiful. No wonder people call him the most innocent celeb. The look in his eyes tells me everything I need to know. Unbeknownst to her, Julian was shocked as well. Impossible. She looks just like Queenie. He just had lunch with Queenie and Nigel the day prior when he was at work. Naturally, he was shocked to see someone who resembled Queenie so much. The difference was Queenie had the air of a wealthy lady, while this one felt more down to earth. Let me go. You're hurting me. Damn it, it's starting to hurt. The bodyguard shoved her away. I know you like him, but you have to be calm. Hurt him, and we'll hurt you. The fans thought they were going crazy. Why is Julian staring at this hater? Because she's pretty? No, please. Don't fall for this hater, Julian. She's hot, but you can't fall for her. Julian was still staring at Jessie's face, spacing out. Jessie was about to leave, but she felt someone staring at her, so she turned around. Their gazes met once more, and she wondered why he was staring at her. Is there something on me that shouldn't be there? Awkwardly, she looked at herself, but there was nothing wrong with her. Julian knew Queenie was looking for her sister. Could she be the one? They look so similar. I almost can't differentiate them. She looked just like Queenie, at least to him. Jessie pursed her lips. I need to leave. I have work to do. A minute, please, Julian finally said. He extended an invitation to her. Can you have breakfast with me? Huh? This came as a bombshell to the fans, and they felt like they could die out of sadness. Julian's asking a hater to have breakfast with him? Sorry, but I need to work. She too was excited, but work took precedence for her. What's your name? Julian asked. Landry, Jessie Landry. I'm a stunt woman. She turned around and told him her job. Okay, this makes the search easier. Jessie left while Julian got in his car. Only the fans were left, and they were stupefied and in disbelief. Does Julian really show preferential treatment to hot girls? Look at him. He was staring at her. God, I wish I were her. I would love to see him gaze at me. Jessie went into an alleyway, her heart still pounding. Gosh. Why did he ask for my name? Does he like me? She smacked her cheeks and told herself to wake up. Yeah, right. Not like that'd happen. Maybe he only invited me because I gave him his necklace back and he felt grateful. Lexi had just woken up when Jessie returned. She rubbed her eyes and asked, "Where did you go?" To return the necklace. Did you see him? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Why didn't you wake me up? I should have woken up earlier. Julian was having breakfast in a restaurant alone, but he gave Nigel and Queenie a video call. Hi, Julian. Did something happen? Nigel asked curiously. Just now, Julian had texted them to take his video call. I met a fan earlier. She looks just like Queenie. I think she might be her sister. Really? How much does she resemble me? Queenie was excited. Let's put it this way. I thought I was looking at you when I saw her for the first time. She's about your age and height, and her name is Jessie Landry. She's a stunt woman. We should go, Nigel. I'd like to see Miss Landry myself, Queenie suggested. Sure, let's take a flight there this afternoon. I'll be waiting. Julian nodded. Can you contact her? Sure thing. My assistant will do it right now. Okay, we'll be coming over today. At Averna. The video call had ended, and Queenie was hugging Nigel in excitement. If Julian thought he was looking at me, then Miss Landry might really be my sister. I need to see her. I'll tell them to prepare the plane. We can also take the opportunity to tour the place, but let's pack up first. Sure. Queenie nodded. She couldn't wait to see this woman. Same age, same height, and the same face. Excitement welled up within her. She would love to have found her sister before her parents came back. That would ease the pain they had felt for so long. Jessie and Lexi were in a van going up an uneven path. It was a bumpy ride, and they were spacing out. They were on their way up the mountain to shoot a scene, but the trip alone would take 2 hours. The film set was at a really high level above the sea. All Jessie could think of was what happened earlier in the morning. She was a veteran in this industry. She had met tons of celebrities, but it was rare to be able to meet someone at the apex of this industry. That was why the meeting shook her, especially when he invited her out for breakfast. She couldn't understand why he did that. We're here. It's going to be a rough day for you. You're still injured. Don't say that out loud. I don't want the director to give me a day off. She needed this job. Work was hard, but the money was good. Back at the hotel, Julian was looking at the photo of Jessie. His assistant had gotten him her details. Even though this was the second time he saw her face, it still shocked him. She looks just like Queenie. Perhaps she is her sister. He snapped a photo of Jessie and sent it to Nigel. Nigel and Queenie were already at the airport. Nigel was stunned for a moment when he saw the photo as well. Oh my God, she looks just like Queenie. I got the photo, Queenie. He quickly handed the phone over to her. One look at the photo, and Queenie started tearing up. She's my sister. What do you think? Nigel nodded. Bonnie's face looked fake, but this one was the real deal. He thought she must be Queenie's real sister. We'll know once we meet her and run a DNA test, he said. Meanwhile, Jessie had just come off the stump wire. Before she could even catch a breath, Lexi quickly handed Jessie her phone. You have 3 missed calls, Jessie. Who is it from? A surprised Jessie asked. No idea. I heard the ringtone, but the caller hung up before I could pick it up. You should call them back. Lexi turned a fan on to cool Jessie down. Jessie sat down and looked at her phone. All 3 calls had come from the same number. Whom can it be? She made the call while gulping down some water. I'm thirsty. And then the call went through. She asked, Hi, may I know who you are? She took another big swig of water. A calm, sexy voice said, Hi, it's Julian Gilmore. Jessie spat out all her water. Never in her wildest imagination did she expect Julian to give her a call. Is something the matter? Julian asked curiously. Nothing. Do you need anything? Jessie was almost stammering, but then a shrill voice spoke. Hey, you got your water all over Miss Cotton's dress. Watch it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Jessie covered her phone and apologized to Mabel. But Mabel did not look happy at all. She already disliked Jessie in the first place, and now, everyone was saying that she looked better than Mabel. Mabel had long been trying to find an excuse to sabotage her, and a perfect one just landed on her lap. Get some tissues and wipe it off, Jessie, she ordered. Jessie put her phone down, crouched down, and quickly wiped the patch off with some tissues. I'm sorry, Miss Cotton. I didn't mean to do that. I was just careless. She kept apologizing as she wiped Mabel's dress off. All of a sudden, Mabel kicked her in the chest, and Jessie fell back down. Her head hit the desk, and a thud followed. Even with the helmet on, the pain still made her pale. Julian heard the sound of the knock as well. Her gasp didn't escape him either. She said sorry. Why did you kick her? Lexi came to her friend's defense. She hated all things injustice. She did something wrong, so of course, she has to be punished. Don't you see? She soiled my dress. This piece of trash soiled my dress. And this dress costs tens of thousands of dollars. Getting off with a kick is merciful. Mabel sneered and left the scene. Are you all right, Jessie? Mabel quickly asked. Ow, ow, ow. The pain only started to register there and then, but she remembered that the call was still on. Quickly, she picked it up. Oh, he's still there. She asked, Hey, are you still there? Yes. Did someone harass you? He asked. There was concern in his voice. This happened because I took this call. She put on a tough act and answered, I'm fine. Do you need anything? We need a stunt woman. Can you come over this afternoon? Sure. I have time, she answered right away. She welcomed all stunt jobs. Meet me at the hotel this afternoon. Then, he hung up. But Jessie was still in a daze. That was one big surprise. Julian called me himself and gave me a role. But how did he get my number? Who was that? Did you get a new job? Lexi looked at her curiously. Yeah, and guess who hired me? Jessie asked happily. Who? Lexi blinked. Jessie beckoned her friend to come closer. Come closer. When Lexi huddled closer, Jessie whispered, "That was Julian. He said his team needs a stunt woman." Lexi shrieked, "Julian!" But Jessie covered her friend's mouth at light speed. "She's going to shout out his name and I can't have that happening."
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.